Hello, everyone, and welcome to Conversations with Catherine. I am very happy to have with me today Kari Kling. She is a mom, an educator, a counselor, parent coach, author, and speaker. And it is so nice to see you, Kari, coming to us from your laundry room.
That's it. This is Kling Central. As I said when I redid my house, I thought I spend most of my time in my laundry room in my office. Why not put them all together? Never imagining I would be recording from there. But this is 2020, right?
Yes.
So thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. And as I said, it's all about authenticity. So we're getting very up close and personal today. I like that.
Yes. And if I turn it a little bit, you'll even see the laundry that needs to be washed.
I love it. Well, let's talk about your experience first. You've been educating parents and families for 30 plus years. You've coached over 9,000 families and educators in person, and you've raised your own twin boys. Yay! And now you're helping parents during this pandemic at a time when distance learning is the new norm.
Yes.
So let me talk to you a little bit about what the biggest challenges are, in your opinion, for parents right now. What are they most concerned about?
You know, that's such a great question, and thank you for asking. None of us, as we spoke earlier, none of us have any prior experience with all of this, and so we're all trying to figure it out as we go along. But I talk to a lot of parents from not only locally here in Arizona, but all over the country and even some internationally. And I find that some of the things that we all have in common is that parents are worried their children will fall behind. Parents are concerned about how are we going to balance their own work if they work, an outside job, whether it's inside the house or still just trying to do what they need to do inside the house. If they have to go back to work and the kids aren't back in school, what do they do about childcare, and who will do that, and who will teach them, and how will they afford it? So many social needs of the kids are not being met. Kids are home. They're alone for the most part. It's getting a little better now than it was before, but still, kids don't have their normal, sports and dance classes and activities, and those are all things that parents worry about. In addition to, I just read yesterday that screen time with kids, I believe it was first grade through high school, is up 500%. And
Incredible.
So yes, and that's not good for our brains, and that's not good for learning, and that's not good for socialization. So we need to put some things into place. I don't know how long this is going to go on, and depending on where you are in the country, it may go on longer than other places. And so I think we really need to be cognizant of this to make sure that we're doing the best for our kids under these circumstances. So many parents feel trapped.
Yes. Well, the struggle is real, and we're all feeling it in some way, shape, or form, as I like to say. You touched on the brain, and I want to just touch on that a little bit more. As a parent coach, you help parents learn how to help their children be their best based on how their brains work. So how does that impact the kind of learning that our children are dealing with right now? Because doesn't that just automatically seem to create a bigger gap than maybe was there before?
Yes. And I think we have to be real as parents to understand what's happening. And the first thing I want to say is that I know teachers are working really hard. This isn't the way most of them were trained. This isn't what they're trying to do. I have a lot of friends that are teachers, and they're really working hard to try to do their very best. But the very best on Zoom is not the best learning for anybody. There are so many things. First of all, most kids aren't, as motivated as they would be in a classroom with their friends and with, real life things going on. So many kids are being asked to just sit in front of a computer for so many hours without enough breaks, without enough movement. And there is a direct correlation between movement and interaction and learning, rather than sitting there. We're not just empty vessels to be filled with knowledge. Even for adults, if you get it right on the test, it doesn't mean you really know it at the level of application when you get it that way. One of the things that I've been teaching for 30 plus years is about real, true learning, and that involves high sensory input. So, we were taught we had 5 senses, but we really have 19 senses that our brains and our bodies receive input from the world around us to make sense of things. And really, the most that people can do online is hearing and sight. And so you're limiting that amount of input, which limits the sensory input, which limits the dendritic growth in the brain, which limits real learning in terms of application in a way that's easily retrieved. You know, it's a vicious cycle. It really is. And then you put the social on that. You know, a lot of kids are sitting by themselves, or, you know, it's difficult. It's very difficult. As you said, the struggle is real.
Well, and interactive learning is so important. I know it was important for me when I was a student. It's important for my son as he's a student. So, you know, talking about that socialization aspect of this is really, really important. You recently decided, as I mentioned, you were parent coaching in person for all of these thousands of families. And then you recently decided to bring what you do, your years of experience in education, to the online world through karikling.com to help parents navigate this whole process and not feel alone. What are the different programs that you offer for parents right now?
Thank you for asking. And, you know, I have to tell you, I decided years ago that someday when my boys go to college, which, you know, they graduated, the graduation, non-graduation graduation, last spring, and now they're in college. One has started, one is starting in 2 weeks. And I knew in my heart, as this is my life's passion, that I wanted to do something with my experience and my knowledge to help families all over. This is pre-COVID. And I knew that I needed to do it online because that's the way of the world, and I needed to learn how to do that. And so I decided to do that, not knowing how. I took a class to figure it out, thinking, okay, I'll start that in, you know, August. And when we went down for 2 weeks, and we all thought it was 2 weeks, a lot of my friends were saying, Kari, people need your help. You've got to get online. You've got to do this. And I actually, Catherine, said, no, I don't want to do this now. I want to protect my family time because my kids are going to have prom and graduation, all these things, and I want to be available for it. I want to be there. Again, thinking in 2 weeks, we would all kind of go back to what we thought normal was. And that didn't happen. So I started just putting a few ideas on my personal Facebook page. I didn't even have a business Facebook page, and people were really receptive, and I realized people need help, and I just kept going, and I've been going every day since, just trying to, you know, post ideas, whether they're behavioral strategies, activities that you can do if you can't even leave your house, things you can do in your backyard, things you can do in your home that are high sensory input, real life kinds of learning to help these kids. And socially, you know, their social needs aren't being met, and family dynamics are changing because everybody's on top of each other, and sibling rivalry. And so it's really my gift from the heart to be able to share this information with people and try to make their lives better.
Well, it's certainly, as they say, timing is everything, and your timing is certainly perfect because so many parents could benefit from this right now and already are. Let's talk about your one-on-one coaching. What does that include, and how does that work for parents who might need a little more than group coaching?
Yes, thank you. I did parent coaching, as I said, for years and years. I had a little private practice, and now I'm doing it through Skype, Zoom, FaceTime, where parents can come to me one-on-one, and we focus on their goals, what's happening in their families, what's happening maybe with a particular child, maybe the interaction of certain children, maybe it's all of the children, and we make a plan and say, okay, let's come up with the top 3 things, and then I work the parents through it, and it's usually the mom, not always, but usually the mom, and we work through it to help make their situation better. And again, it's not just about, well, this is what I think. It's all based on the research about what we know about how we learn and behave. So that's what that is, one-on-one in the privacy of your own home.
And there are a lot of parents that like to be in a group setting too. I know for myself, when I share, I feel so much better when other people are there to reinforce that I'm not alone.
Yes.
And I'm sure a lot of parents probably need that right now. So talk to me a little bit about the group coaching, because you have something called VIP, very important parents.
Yes.
This is membership based. Why would somebody want to do this as opposed to one-on-one?
Such a great question. so many parents are so isolated now, based on, what you just said. And even if you're not isolated, some people, depending on how you learn and your personality, you might do better by yourself, or you might, feel better with a group of parents. But right now, so many parents feel isolated. And the group it's going to be two different things. It's going to be a Zoom meeting once a week, and this is going to be focused on parents of children. We actually also have a couple of grandparents that are going to be in it, who are the primary caretakers of their grandchildren right now. And it's going to be children preschool through 6th grade, where once a week, and I'm doing it Wednesdays at noon Mountain Standard Time. And I know there's no perfect time because everyone's in a different time zone. So if you can't make it live, it's not a problem. I'll record it and send it to you. But I'm going to have a different topic every week, and everything from looking at social, emotional, and behavioral issues that you might be looking at with your children, helping you with activities, helping you with resources. The thing I'm most excited about is the second week of every month, I am going to be hosting a masterclass, and I have, lined up for the rest of 2020 for unbelievable guest experts who are internationally and nationally known. These are friends and people I used to work with in the fields of parenting, learning, and behaviors. And would you like me to just tell you quickly who they are?
Absolutely, that would be great.
I'd be honored to. The first week, I'm going to be hosting my mentor of the last 30 plus years, who got me involved. I was already interested in brain research, but she was the one that really helped me get to the level where I am now in terms of my knowledge, even though I'm continuing to learn every single day. Her name is Susan Kovalik, and Susan is an internationally known pioneer in the world of brain research. And she was one of the first people back in the early 80s when we started getting all of this research, because early research was done on sick people, or people that had trauma to the brain, and the doctors could say, well, this part of the brain is what's injured or became ill, and the person can no longer do this, so therefore we know blah blah blah. Well, with the inventions of certain technologies, you can take a healthy person and look at what their brain's doing when they do different tasks and see what happens. And so she was one of the first people to say, let's put that in a way that everyday people can understand this and model this and replicate it for their students, for their children. She's, as I said, internationally known. She's helped reform educational systems in different countries, different states. She's an author. She's incredible, and she's retired. So you couldn't get to her if you tried, but she's going to do this as a gift to kick this off for me. In October, I have Dr. Amy Dirksen, who's a naturopathic doctor from the state of Washington. She's going to be talking to us about natural ways to boost your child's brain power. And she's got so many great ideas. She works with neurotypical kids. She works with kids on the autism spectrum. She works with kids that maybe just have a few special needs, and she's amazing. In November, Dr. Kathleen Friend, who is an integrative psychiatrist and a children's book author. She's amazing. And she looks at what I try to do, but I'm not an MD, but looking at how the human brain and human body work together to help you be the best you can be. And she's going to be talking to us about creating flourishing relationships and wealth within the parent-child relationship, and that will last forever. And lastly, in December, my New Year's gift to the people, the VIPs, the very important parents, will be my friend and fellow mother of multiples, Amy Carney, who is—
I know Amy.
You know Amy, yes.
Amy's awesome.
She's awesome. And she wrote a book called Parent on Purpose. And she's just amazing. And she's going to talk to us about how to set up family meetings in your home with your family from 2021 and beyond. So yes, so it's really exciting. And so, I feel that I know that parents are busy right now. Everybody's busy. In fact, someone said to me the other day, Kari, I'm so frazzled. I don't feel like I have an extra hour a week. And I said, with everything going on that you're telling me with your kids, we just need to tweak things, because we need to help our kids and not just say, okay, they're doing that, they're fine. So many kids aren't fine, Catherine, and even if they seem fine socially, emotionally, they're not fine. And I really want to take, this is my passion, to take what I know and to help people with that. I'm also going to be, just question and answer time about what's going on in the individual person's family. And last but not least, this is going to be based on what the people tell me they need. I've got a zillion math tricks, and I have it right here. I wrote a math book years ago. It's not about math, it's about life. Math tricks and just games, vocabulary games, and just a million things that I can share with parents and help them. So,
well, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say the reason it's a membership group, because what I do on my site is very broad. I'm trying to just share ideas with parents, not knowing who's going to look at the page. And this is going to help make it more focused and really specifically help people that say, this is what I need, this is what I want. So.
Well, like you said, it becomes hyper-focused. And
yes.
Again, you have put together a powerful lineup of people and resources.
Yes.
So worth the price of membership. So tell me a little bit about how that membership works, what people should know, and if they can't jump in live, they can find it later online as members, correct?
Correct. I'm also going to have a private Facebook page. So if you can't make it live, every time we do a Zoom session, I will record it and it will be available there, and I can email it to someone. If someone's not online and they would like to join, it won't fit in an email, but or email with Dropbox, so I can get it to them. I really, Catherine, this is my passion project, as I said. I know people are struggling. I know people have lost jobs. I know people have had hours cut back. And so I thought, how can I do this and make it really doable for everybody? And so I'm offering people over $600 a month in the people that I bring in, the expertise, the resources that I'm going to share, the time that we're going to spend. And I know that that's not reasonable, and I would never do that. And so I'm offering it to people for $27 a month, just so that they can have the help and support they need. If anybody tries to go to, a counselor, private counselor, whatever, if they're trying to get help, it's probably well over $100 for one session. And this is, 4 sessions plus a lot more a month for $27. So I'm just trying to do what I can to help people create the path of success for their children in their lives today.
Well, the more knowledge we have, the more we're able to empower our kids. So I appreciate that you are doing this and that you have this passion, which I know you've had for a very long time.
Yes.
Before I let you go, I do want to talk just a little bit, kind of tap into your expertise, with this virtual situation that a lot of us parents and teachers are dealing with, grandparents, with our children. What life lessons can we teach our kids during this time, in your opinion?
There are so many life lessons. And at the same time, some kids I know and some families are like, okay, we've had enough life lessons. It's time to get back to work here. But I think the greatest life lesson, and I'm going to start with my family, with my boys, is gratitude. My boys say to me all the time, they said, Mom, I'm never going to take going to the gym for granted again. I'm never going to take going out for a bite to eat and going to a movie with my friends for granted again. And so I think gratitude is big, because now sometimes, most of the time, we don't really appreciate things until we don't have them anymore. The things that everybody's talking about, building resiliency, perseverance, flexibility, problem solving, patience. I'm sure everybody can come up with a lot more, but I also think it's at the point where some kids are, anxiety and depression with children has been noted as being 30 to 40% of an increase since the shutdown in March. And we're trading, and I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not claiming to say that I know what the right thing is about going back to school and how to do it. I'm not trying to say that at all. But we're trading problems. We're trading, okay, we don't want to expose our kids to this and expose everybody else. But the mental health side of it is also pretty serious. In fact, it was noted that seniors in high school last year, my boys' age, that was the most in terms of anxiety and depression that had been reported. So
it's a lot to deal with,
right,
for all of us right now.
right.
So as I mentioned, the more we know, the better off I think we all are. And so with that being said, I want to ask you if you could maybe give three of your top tips for success during this time of virtual learning for parents.
Yes, absolutely. And I just want to go back to the VIP, the very important parents, for
Mm-hmm.
one moment, if I may, because I'm really trying to make this as doable for everybody as they can. There are no contracts. And so if anybody is thinking, you know what, maybe I'll try it, and they can just try it. They can just register, and 1 month at a time. There's no long-term commitment. I want to be there for people who need the support.
It's
But
worth trying out.
yes, thank you. In terms of my top 3 tips of what to do with your children right now, I mentioned earlier that I'm involved with some parent groups, local, nationally, and internationally. And one of the common threads that I also see, I mentioned before, I want to say my first tip is no guilt.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many parents, and again, it's mostly the moms that are in the group, so that's who I hear from. And I'm hearing things like, I feel so guilty. My house is a mess. I don't even put makeup on anymore. I put on my workout clothes, and I don't even put on real clothes anymore. And I don't even work out. And it's just a lot of guilt. And my first tip is, friends, please have grace with yourself. This isn't normal for anybody. And the more we beat ourselves up, the worse it's going to be for our kids. And we don't want to model that for our kids. We want to model that, it may not be what we want, but we're going to look at all of the things that we can do and make the best of it. My second top tip follows that. It's about, let's model positivity. The greatest gift we can give our children is the gift of ourselves. And I think so many parents get so caught up in, you've got to be on the Zoom, and you've got to do this, and and I get it. That's real.
It's a lot.
But we have to be positive at the same time. And the more that our children see us complaining and, I hate this, and even though we do, I just think it's counterproductive. And so let's look at, how can you, and a lot of people have already been doing this. We've been doing this since March, have new family traditions. Maybe it's buddy reading at night for 15, 20 minutes. It doesn't have to take a long time. Maybe it's a themed dinner once a week. Maybe it's writing letters to people, that live in assisted living and can't be with their grandkids and their own families. So really just about looking at the positivity, because that's all we can do. And by the way, the more positive we are, the more positive chemicals are being transmitted in our brain and our bodies, the better we're going to feel. And so there's a huge connection with the way we feel and the chemicals that are released in our bodies. And so we want to keep that positivity going. And the third, you've already touched on. My third tip is, please don't try to do this alone. Get support from your school, whether it's a public school, a private school, a charter school, whatever it is. Get as much support as you can. Some people are looking at little pods with other parents and having like a little mini school, wherever you can get the help. And if you're not sure where to get the help and you want extra help, find an external resource. And I'd like to offer that I'm here to support you and help you on every step of the way if I can.
Mm-hmm. Well, you are online, as I mentioned before. You're on Instagram, you're on Facebook, and of course you have your website. I want to let people know that they can find you at karikling.com, and that's also where they can find information about the VIP membership as well, correct?
Yes. In fact, if they just look on the top, and I believe you're going to post it as well, on the menu bar it says, let's work together, and it's a down arrow. And so just click on VIP. And I just want to share with you, one of the reasons that I chose VIP, very important parents, because we're all very important parents. But what I've learned in my years of parent coaching, and I had no idea about this when I was maybe 25, 30 years ago, before I was a parent. There are so many parents out there, mostly the moms that I've talked to, who don't feel that their job is very important. And they don't feel very, very important in that role. And I was really shocked. That doesn't mean that the people who join our group are going to feel that way, but that's why I chose that name, because I want people, I think this is the most important job in the world, to be a parent.
Absolutely. It's the best, the most important, and the toughest.
Yes, the toughest job you'll ever love, right?
Yes, exactly. I like that a lot.
Yeah, that was the Peace Corps. That wasn't original.
I know I've heard it before, but I do love
no,
it.
it wasn't me. It wasn't me. But I just want to thank you for helping me spread the word, in efforts to be there for other families. And, you know, again, if you decide that you would like to try it, and you say, you know what, I'm going to give it a couple months and I'll see, that's fine. You don't have to make a commitment. Nobody does. I just want to offer what I know and what I feel so strongly about to those people out there who are struggling.
Well, it's my honor to help spread the word, the good word about what you're doing. And I was going to say, I wish there was a you when my son was younger, but there was a you because he went to your math camp for a couple of days. That was about 10 years ago.
I know, we were trying to figure it out, and I'll never forget the first time you called me and I thought, oh my goodness, Catherine and I is calling me. And then it was so exciting when your son came to my camp, and I still remember him, and it was so much fun. And I hope he has great memories about that.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, I can attest then, everybody, that she's been doing this for a really long time because he's now a senior in high school. So there you go.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. And if anybody has any questions, they're welcome to send me an email, Kari at karikling.com, and I'd be happy to share any information that I can.
Thank you, Kari, so much. And again, I will make sure to put all of the links in all of the posts for our episode of Conversations with Catherine. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you again.